I was 19 when my mother lifted my chin with fingers cold as porcelain. She looked at me as if I were something she'd found under her shoe, useless, dull, disappointing. The house smelled of old roses and brandy. Outside, the garden bloomed with jasmine that would never belong to me. "You think you're too good for him?" she asked, her voice sweet as spoiled milk. My father sat silent in his chair, swirling amber liquid in a glass too big for his hand. He did not look at me when he spoke, only flicked his eyes to the paper on the table. Sign. The boy they chose for me was nothing, a borrowed suit, a shy smile, hands too big for his pockets. I'd seen him once before, fixing a fence behind the neighbor's shed. I remembered how he wiped his brow with the back of his wrist, how the sun caught the sweat on his neck. They said he was good for nothing, same as me. So we would be nothing together. They dressed me in my mother's old wedding gown. It smelled of mothballs and old regret. They pinned my hair so tight the pins bit my scalp when I nodded at the priest. He stood there, waiting for me, shoulders stiff, eyes lowered. When our hands met, his touch startled me, warm and rough where I was cold and soft. We didn't smile for the guests who whispered behind lace gloves. We didn't kiss when they asked. We bowed our heads, as if we might pray for forgiveness, though no God listened that day. Somewhere behind me, my mother murmured, "She deserves him." They gave us a house after 2 rooms, chipped paint, pipes that rattled when I washed my hands. At night, I lay awake on a mattress that coughed old springs into my spine. He lay beside me, quiet at first, like he was waiting for permission to breathe. Sometimes his hand found mine in the dark, his thumb brushing the thin skin over my wrist, circling it until I fell asleep. And in that small, leaking house, with no warmth but our breath and the soft scrape of our fingers, we planted the first seeds of something no one could see. Something slow, stubborn, and patient as roots in stone. The first winter nearly broke us. Wind slipped through the window frames, turned our breath to frost in the corners. He came home smelling of wet wool and cold iron. He'd pull me close under borrowed blankets, tuck my frozen feet between his calves, press his forehead to my temple like a quiet promise. He never spoke of the family that sent us away to starve politely behind painted doors. Instead, he spoke of deeds and land I couldn't see yet. He spoke of bricks and borrowed tools, of waking before dawn to pour concrete for men who'd never say thank you. He showed me slips of paper, pencil lines I didn't understand, little maps of what would come next. We opened our first corner shop 2 springs later. A bent sign, dusty shelves, a glass counter we polished with rags until we could see ourselves in it. He sold bread and cheap milk. I counted coins in the back room by candlelight, my fingers raw from ink and flour. I wore the same 3 dresses until the seams gave way. Still, people came. They liked his honesty, my soft thank you, the way he carried boxes to their cars when no one asked him to. Every coin we slid beneath our mattress until it rose under us like a secret throne. Some nights, we laughed into each other's shoulders, tired, bruised, hungry for something bigger than hunger. When the invitation came to return, to sit at their table again, I felt the old walls tremble inside me. Their house seemed smaller than I remembered. The chandeliers dripped crystal tears, but the chairs were worn at the arms. My mother's smile cracked like thin porcelain when she saw my plain dress and his plain suit. My father lifted his glass and roared for the cousins and the aunts, "I'm proud of all my children except the one who ran off with a nobody." His voice rolled over the table like thunder in a dry room. The laughter that followed was brittle, sharp, hungry for my shame. Beneath the white linen, his hand found mine, stronger now, skin rough from lifting what others wouldn't touch. I didn't speak. I didn't argue. I just rose when he squeezed my fingers and left their grand house behind. In the car, our silence was soft. In our small kitchen that night, we spread out the deeds, 3 lots now, 1 shop, a new contract waiting for ink. His thumb traced my jaw like I was still worth more than gold. When he kissed me there, next to the flickering stove, I felt our kingdom rise behind my closed eyes, quiet, certain, patient as ever. We did not say revenge out loud. Our bodies said it for us, slow hands, warm breath, skin against skin whispering, wait, wait, it's coming. Spring returned to us like an old friend who'd never forgotten the door. By then the corner shop was 2 shops, then 5. The small lots behind the train tracks rose into apartments with clean windows and lines of children's shoes at every door. They called him boss now, the same people who once spat at his boots. They called me ma'am when I brought the books for signing, the same hands that once dropped coins on my counter like I should kiss their shoes. They didn't see us coming, 2 shadows behind cracked plaster and cold faucet water. They didn't see us stack our coins until they became bricks, then deeds, then the ground under their feet. When the family called again, they dressed it as a celebration. A cousin's wedding, all white roses and velvet ribbons, held in the grand garden where my mother once told me I belonged in the dirt. They didn't know that dirt was rich now, dark and heavy with everything we planted in silence. I wore blue silk this time, sleeves that whispered at my wrists. He stood at my side in a suit we'd paid for in cash, shoes polished so well they caught the sun and threw it back in their faces. They kissed my cheeks with dry lips, offered me plates of sugared cakes they couldn't afford without loans I now held in my desk drawer. When the speeches began, I waited. I waited through the toasts and the lies and the praise they poured over themselves like cheap perfume. My mother's eyes flicked to me now and then, searching for cracks in my calm. She found none. I took the mic when the music fell soft, my voice clear against the hush that slipped between crystal glasses and forced smiles. You called me poor, I said, my fingers resting on the metal stem. You said he was nothing, that I was nothing. They shifted, the old shame crawling back up their silk sleeves. My father would not meet my eyes. My mother's pearls glowed at her throat like small, strangled moons. So here, I said, and I laid the paper on the table white and clean, ink so dark it might have been blood. You see that street you live on? The shops you buy your wine from? The flats your friends rent to keep up appearances. Their silence answered me before their lips could. I let the hush grow teeth and sink them in. I dropped the mic, it fell against the soft grass with a muffled kiss. They flinched like glass cracking under slow heat. Outside, beneath the jasmine arch, he waited for me. He touched my cheek with his thumb, traced my lip like he'd written every word they'd just swallowed. In the car, he didn't say he was proud, he didn't have to. His hand slipped beneath my hair, his mouth found the soft skin behind my ear, and the whole car filled with our quiet victory. Later, at home, I lay against him in the dark. Our bodies met the way rain meets the earth, slow at first, then certain. His hands mapped my back like deeds spread on a table. Every kiss was a promise paid in full, every sigh a contract sealed. By dawn, the empire was ours, built on their laughter, watered by their disdain. And the jasmine bloomed for us alone, white and wild, roots sunk deep in dirt they'd once cursed us to share. So we let it grow, quiet, patient, beautiful enough to bury them all.